Well, hi everyone. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm so glad to have you with me tonight. Tonight I'm attempting to make Osso Buco. And I've already started the veal shank, but I'm not using veal. I'm using beef shank. And let me show you what I've done already. I'm Vicki, and I'm so glad you've joined me in my kitchen. Today, I am going to share with you a sous vide recipe, and this is beef shank. It's not a cut that you see a lot, but you can ask your butcher about this. This is a very tender, sweet piece of meat, and we're going to cook it sous vide, and we're going to cook it with our Tuscan-style herb chicken. We're only going to use part of this packet, and we're going to put this, we're going to go ahead and pepper the beef shanks. Now, I don't like to salt them until I try them with the seasoning once before I sear them. And I'm just going to go ahead and put both of these in, and we'll put a little bit of seasoning on either side of it. Now I want to put a little butter in there too. So let's get some butter out. We're going to put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter in. We'll pat on either side. First, we're going to use about half of our seasoning. And Tuscan herb. He's got rosemary and basil, garlic, oregano. It smells so good. Like I said, we're using about half of this packet. We are going to use about 1/8 of a cup of white wine and a couple tablespoons of butter. And I'll seal this and put it in the sous vide cooker on 140 degrees for 4 hours. It's going to make it really tender. Actually, I'm going to cook it on 130 degrees for 4 hours. And then I'm going to take it out and sear it. I'll make a sauce with it. But I'll do that for you tomorrow because I'm going to let it cook for 4 hours and then put it in the refrigerator. I'll have it ready to take out and sear to make tomorrow night's supper. See you later. Okay, so you're caught up on what I did last night by cooking the beef shank in the sous vide. I wanted to get it tender and ready to cook today, and so I have gone ahead and breaded it. And this is not regular breading because I don't use wheat flour. I use a little almond flour and crushed pork rinds. You've seen me do that before. But we're going to be working in our enameled cast iron skillet, which is wonderful. After braising, we are going to put it in the oven, and it will cook for an hour on 350. Normally it cooks for about 2 to 2.5 hours, but since we went ahead and cooked it in the sous vide, then our cooking time is a little less. You know, I like prep work. And we're going to do the braising right here in front of you. So what we need to do to start with is a little olive oil. And let's get this started. Of course, you know I'm using Georgia Olive Farms olive oil. If those of you that don't know, Georgia Olive Farms olive oil was started by my family here in South Georgia. And true extra virgin olive oil is very important to me, as is quality true ingredients. If you use quality ingredients, your finished dish is just going to come out so much better. Let me get a towel. It's allergy season, so I'm a little sniffly today. Okay, so let's start braising. So we'll get this, the oil started to move. When the oil is moving freely, you know it's ready to put the meat in. Now, like I said, in getting ready for this, I am using a little bit of almond flour and crushed pork rinds for the breading. This will also help thicken the sauce as it cooks. I want you to see what the beef shank looks like. Now these are cut about 1.25 inches thick. I would rather them be cut about 2 inches thick, but this was what I could get locally. Now I've ordered this in restaurants lots of times, but I have actually never cooked it. So this is an adventure for you and me. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it turns out okay. Now, while this is heating up, can I tell you a little bit about our enameled cast iron? We have a whole series. And while I was getting ready for tonight, I went online to Le Creuset's site to see the comparison on what the Pampered Chef models cost compared to the Le Creuset. The skillet that is very similar to this one, same size, is about $3.98. Ours is $170. Now, I would say that is a lot of savings. The Dutch oven, which I also have, is about $670, and it's about $200 in Pampered Chef. A lot of savings. So if you like cooking with enameled cast iron, and when I come back I'll show you some of the other components, some of the other pieces. But one of the really cool things is on the lid. Can you see the little dimples? It marinates what you're cooking. When the moisture goes up around the top, it drips back onto the meats in the because of the dimples on the tops. Okay. Let's put this in, and I just have 2 pieces. We're going to just sear it. We want just some searing on the meat. We want to get a little glazing going on the enameled cast iron so that you can do the deglaze, the deglazing, and have that just blend in with the juices. I think I'm going to put a little bit more olive oil. You know me, I'm a little generous when it comes to olive oil. Now, I'm excited to try this. Like I said, I've ordered it in restaurants plenty of times, but I've never actually tried it at home. What's something you've tried that you've never tried at home, that you really like when you eat out? Traditionally, Osso Buco is made with veal, but I choose to make it with beef shank instead of veal shank. And we've about got this seared perfectly. And remember, the meat is actually pretty well cooked already because of cooking it in a sous vide. Now let's pause this. Let's take this up. Look at how pretty. Okay. Now we're going to put some vegetables in with it. And I've got celery. And I have cut the celery in strips and taken the strings out of it. I'll show you how to do that as soon as I get this chopped. I like chopping. Now I'm going to do the onions with our chopper. But I kind of enjoy doing a little bit by hand. We've got such amazing knives, and I don't know, there's some satisfaction you get out of cutting them and now, I don't cook with green bell pepper. I cook with the red, yellow, or orange because the green ones don't like me. And the onions, I like using our chopper. I'm not a fan of chopping onions. And I had these small onions that I had gotten for... well, I couldn't find pearl onions when I was making some beef bourguignon. And it called for pearl onions. But I compromised with a little small California sweet onion. Way to use the chopper is use your finger grips. Hold the top like this. Don't use the protective cover. Just do a mat or a cutting board. Get your little brush pad. Chop, chop, chop. And you can chop it Coarse, medium, or fine. You can control this chopper very well. And let's turn this back on. And I'm actually going to take some of the leaves from the celery and chop them up. And let's do some bell pepper. Like I said, I use the red, orange, or yellow because they don't give me heartburn and indigestion. They're sweeter. To me, the green ones have a bitter flavor. And they're also pretty in the food. You know me. I like food to look pretty. Now remember what I told you. We did the sous vide in the Tuscan herb chicken mix from Pampered Chef. So it's got all of the spices and things we need. So I reserved the juice from that to go in here. We're actually going to take about 1/4 of a cup of wine to deglaze the pan. Remember I was talking about when you're browning the meat, you want a little glazing, that's the little charring on the bottom, because you want to be able to incorporate that in with the juices. I think that's about enough peppers. Anywhere from 1/2 to 1. Let's just finish this one off. Now I cut the ribs out of the peppers. And I make sure there's no seeds in it. Okay, see the, let's see. Can you see the bottom? We're going to deglaze it in a minute with the wine. So, let's pour a little wine. About 1/4 cup. Smell. Now, I probably should have used red wine with this, but I'm out of red wine, and I already had some white wine open. Normally, I would use red wine. Now, another thing that people put in with Osso Buco is some finely chopped carrots. I don't cook with carrots. They have lots of sugar, and of course, most of you know I cook keto low carb, and they have lots of sugar in them. So we've got the onions, we've got the peppers, we've got the celery, and we've deglazed the pan. Now we're going to take the juice, and I really want about cup of juice. These are our easy read measuring cups. You can see the measurements on the inside, so you don't have to turn it around and look at the bottom. About a cup. Now this is the juice that was taken off of the, it was in the vacuum seal bag with the meat. And it has spices and wine. Okay. Let's come up high. Now, you see all the little trimmings? I'm going to make a vegetable stock. I'll put this in a Ziploc bag and make a vegetable stock. So while that is starting to come up to a simmer, I'll show you what I do to get the strings out of the celery. I simply pop it and pull. And it takes the strings out. Look! I don't like strings in the celery. Okay, we've got that coming up to a simmer. Let's put the meat back in. And we're going to pour 2 cups of tomatoes. And I'm just going to pour them right over the top. And I have a friend who brought me fresh dried bay leaves. I need 3 of those. Actually, these are so big, I think I'm only going to need 2 of them. Now what I'm going to do is stick this in the oven for about an hour. And Osso Buco should be ready. Can't wait to bring it out and show you. So we're just going to cover it. We're going to put it in the oven for about an hour and we'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, I just wanted to take a moment and show you the line of enameled cast iron cookware. We have the covered skillet. We have the Dutch oven. And the Dutch oven has the little dimples in the lid just like the skillet that I was showing you, so that the juices marinate onto the meats and whatever's cooking. You have the 1 quart and 2 quart bakers, and you have the large roasting pan, and this is also a lasagna pan with extra deep walls so you don't have any spillage. One thing, this thing is very heavy. Make sure you're pretty strong. And I have this wonderful little, it's called a milk pan. And it's a seasonal item, and hopefully it'll be back at Christmas time again this coming year. But this little milk pan is one of my favorite things. So give me a moment and we will open the Osso Buco and see what it looks like. Wow. It looks beautiful. Okay, y'all, it is absolutely beautiful and tastes probably as good as any I've ever had, if I do say so myself. So don't be afraid to try new things. Things that look hard and may be challenging. And if you fail, that's okay too. You learn something from it. But look at this amazing Osso Buco. And it's so tender. fork just goes right through it. Thank you for being with me. You know, give someone your beautiful smile today. It makes you feel good inside, warms your heart, even when you're feeling bad. And then, you know, you just could make somebody's day. Come back to see me soon. And remember, everything you've seen me use is in a link on my description or on my Facebook page. Let me know if I can answer any questions for you. And bye.